Welcome students. So in today's class we shall be learning about the energy generation phase of glycolysis. This is the part 2 of the glycolysis. So in our previous class we had learned about the energy investment and splitting phase of glycolysis. So we shall be starting with energy generation phase of glycolysis. So in this phase the ATPs and NADH will be produced. So we already know that during the splitting phase two molecules are formed. One is dihydroxyacetone phosphate and another one is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. But dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate through phosphotriose isomerase enzyme. So we shall be starting this reaction with two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So now first of all let us draw the structure of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So it is a 3-carbon compound So this is the structure for glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So the first reaction is conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. This is a very high energy compound. The reaction occurs in the presence of enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. So the name of enzyme is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. And during this conversion the NAD is converted into NADH. And this all reaction takes place in presence of enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now where the changes occur, there is attachment of a phosphate group on the first carbon atom. We shall be highlighting this as follows. So this is the structure for 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. This is the structure for 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So this is a very high energy reaction in which there is a generation of 6 ATP because 1 NADH is equivalent to 3 ATPs. As we all know that the reaction is starting with two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So in total, through 2 NADH will be produced, which means a total of 6 ATP will be generated. Plus this reaction can be inhibited through the presence of iodoacetate and arsenate. So inhibitors for this is iodoacetate and arsenate. These inhibit the glycolysis process through inhibiting the enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. So now the next step is conversion of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate. So this is the 6th reaction. This one is the 6th reaction. So then comes the 7th reaction in the glycolysis process, that is conversion of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate. So first of all, let us draw the structure for 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So we all can easily draw the structure for 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. This is the structure for 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So in presence of enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase, this leads to formation of 3-phosphoglycerate with generation of one ATP molecule. So here an ATP is also generated, and this reaction occurs in presence of magnesium ions. So now the changes are, will be at the first carbon, so this is the structure for 3-phosphoglycerate. This is the structure for 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. So this step is a good example of substrate level phosphorylation, since ATP is synthesized from the substrate without the involvement of electron transport chain. So sometimes this is also referred to as substrate level phosphorylation reaction. As it does not involve the electron transport chain. The phosphoglycerate kinase reaction is reversible and a rare example among the kinase reactions. So this is an example of reversible reactions. This one is also a reversible reaction. And among the kinase class enzymes, this is a very rare reaction. So now the next reaction is conversion of 3-phosphoglycerate into 2-phosphoglycerate. So it is an intramolecular rearrangement reaction. So first of all, let us draw the structure for 3-phosphoglycerate. Now this is the structure for 3-phosphoglycerate. The reaction occurs in presence of an enzyme known as phosphoglycerate mutase. And there the shifting of phosphate group from third carbon atom to the second carbon atom. So I will be only showing you here the movement of phosphate group. So it moves to here. You can see this is the structure for 2-phosphoglycerate. And it is formed from 3-phosphoglycerate. This is also an reversible reaction, and moreover it is considered to be as isomerization reaction. So this is an isomerization reaction, formation of isomers. Now the next reaction is conversion of 2-phosphoglycerate into phosphoenol pyruvate. So next, conversion of 2-phosphoglycerate into phosphoenol pyruvate. So this is the structure for 2-phosphoglycerate. Now this reaction is also an reversible reaction that occurs in the presence of enolase enzyme. This reaction occurs in the presence of enolase enzyme and magnesium ions, plus it is characterized by removal of water molecule. So in presence of enolase enzyme, the structure will change as follows. So this is the structure for phosphoenol pyruvate. The high energy compound phosphoenol pyruvate is generated from 2-phosphoglycerate. This enzyme requires magnesium or manganese and is inhibited by fluoride ion. So inhibitor for this is fluoride. So in presence of fluoride ions, this reaction is inhibited. For blood glucose estimation, fluoride is added to the blood to prevent glycolysis by the cell, so that blood glucose is correctly estimated. So now the last reaction is conversion of phosphoenol pyruvate into pyruvate. So now first of all let us draw the structure for phosphoenol pyruvate. Here you can see the structure. Now this is the structure for PEP. We can write it in a short form, phosphoenol pyruvate. So in presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase. So in presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase, so this is an irreversible reaction that occurs in the presence of pyruvate kinase enzyme. And is accompanied by formation of one ATP molecule. So whenever there is a kinase enzyme, presence of magnesium is also there. So it leads to formation of pyruvate molecule. So it leads to formation of pyruvate molecule. So I will be showing you here spontaneous conversion of pyruvate from enol form to keto form. So here is the enol form of pyruvate and it is spontaneously converted into its keto form. So this is accompanied by spontaneous conversion to its keto form. So this is the keto form, the final form of pyruvate. So enzyme pyruvate kinase catalyzes the transfer of high energy phosphate from phosphoenol pyruvate to its ADP and leading to formation of one ATP molecule. The step is also known as substrate level phosphorylation and this reaction is irreversible. So this is the aerobic form of glycolysis. Another reaction is there if the body or the cells undergo vigorous conditions and lead to deficiency of oxygen. So the reaction that is accompanied leads to formation of a lactate molecule. So here we shall be starting it with the lactate molecule. The pyruvate in its keto form is converted into lactate in presence of enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. So these occur in the anaerobic condition. Now this is also accompanied by production of one NADH from NAD. So the structure of lactate dehydrogenase is as follows. Now this is the structure for lactate. This is the anaerobic breakdown of pyruvate into lactate with production of NAD. So I hope students now it is clear to you how the energy generation phase is occurring. This is starting with glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate from here converted into 1,3-biphosphoglycerate with production of one NADH molecule. As the reaction is occurring for two glyceraldehyde 3-phosphates, then we shall be multiplying every energy product with 2. So in the next reaction, the conversion of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate, a high energy compound, into 3-phosphoglycerate, which is a substrate level phosphorylation reaction, it leads to formation of another ATP molecule. Then 3-phosphoglycerate undergoes isomerization reaction and is converted into 2-phosphoglycerate. The 2-phosphoglycerate in presence of enolase enzyme is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate. And ultimately the phosphoenol pyruvate undergoes an irreversible reaction through pyruvate kinase enzyme and with production of one ATP molecule leads to formation of ketoform of pyruvate. And if the reaction undergoes an anaerobic degradation, then it leads to formation of lactate. So this was regarding the energy generation phase. Now we shall be learning about the bioenergetics of glycolysis. This is another topic related with the glycolysis. So how the energy molecules are produced, or basically generation of ATP in glucose metabolism. So what are the bioenergetics of glycolysis? First we shall be starting with the energy generation reactions. So from where the energy is generated out. So the first reaction where the energy generation is there is from conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate into 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So this reaction occurs in presence of enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. And during its reaction, NADH molecule is produced. As the reaction is proceeding for two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, so a net production of 2 NADH is there, which are equivalent to 6 ATPs. As we know that 1 NADH is equivalent to 3 ATP. So a net production of 6 ATPs is there. The next is a substrate level phosphorylation reactions which are involved in conversion of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate. So in the second reaction, there is a conversion of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate. So this is the second reaction in which energy is generated, and this occurs in the presence of enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase. So the name of enzyme is phosphoglycerate kinase. This is accompanied by production of 1 ATP as the reaction is proceeded for 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecules. So there will be a net generation of 2 ATPs. Now the third reaction for generation of ATPs is conversion of phosphoenol pyruvate into pyruvate in presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase. So this is an irreversible reaction that leads to formation of pyruvate in its keto form, and this reaction occurs in presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase. So this is also accompanied by production of 1 ATP molecule, and similarly the net production will be of 2 ATPs as the reaction is considered for 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now let us see how many ATPs are generated. So from here it is clear that there is total generation of 10 ATP molecules, but we know that during the energy investment phase there was consumption of 2 ATP molecules. So we all know that two ATP are consumed during, the first one is conversion of glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. So this is controlled by hexokinase enzyme. So this involves the investment of 1 ATP molecule. So 1 ATP molecule is invested here. Similarly, formation of fructose 1,6-biphosphate from fructose 6-phosphate is also accompanied by investment of 1 ATP molecule. So in this reaction, fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-biphosphate. This is controlled by enzyme phosphofructokinase. So this also involves the investment of 1 ATP molecule. So the net ATP synthesis in glycolysis under aerobic conditions we will be writing. So this statement is written as net ATP synthesis in glycolysis. So this all occurs under aerobic conditions. Now this is 10 minus 2 equal to 8 ATPs. So the net production is 8 ATPs per molecule of glucose. So if under anaerobic conditions also, then pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme leads to degradation of pyruvate into lactate, and this leads to production of another 6 ATPs here. But this is under anaerobic condition. So under aerobic condition a total of 8 ATPs are produced. So students, this was all regarding the energy generation phase and bioenergetics of glycolysis. So from here you can easily see the last 5 reactions that are occurring and leads to formation of pyruvate in its keto form. Then the bioenergetics that involve production of 10 ATPs, and after the utilization of 2 ATPs in the starting or in the initiation of glycolysis, the net production is of 8 ATPs. So students, I hope the concept is clear to you now.